Poopsies, it's me, Tony Bomboni. Welcome back to your ASMR session. Before this video begins, I do want to announce this video is a promotional sponsor video by Helix Sleep, and they sent me this huge king-sized mattress to put on the bed, and I'm really excited to try this and rest one night with it and let you know how I feel. And I wanted to make this video a facts about sleep video and kind of integrate this with the mattress, because sleep is so important, and the number one way to get a good night's sleep is your good mattress. So if you don't have that, you don't really have a good night's rest every night, which is so important for your health and your well-being and your survival, basically, how you function in society. So I'm all about this, so I can't wait to try it out. I'm going to unbox it soon, but I just want to give you some facts about this mattress first and foremost. But before that, make sure you check out the link at the very top of the description fold below. And yeah, you can get an exclusive code up to $125 off your Helix mattress. And there is also a quiz you can take, which will personalize your mattress based on if you like soft or firm mattresses, if you sleep on your back, your stomach, or your side. You know, if you're a side sleeper, this quiz will adjust to the preference of your mattress, and they'll pick it out and they'll be like, oh, we'll recommend this mattress for you, and then you just buy it from there. So if you purchase the standard mattresses, they have hundreds of individually wrapped coils to give you much better support than any regular old foam mattress. They come in 12 inches with 4 layers of construction. They also have a 10-year warranty, and memory foam and Helix dynamic foam cradles your body for the most comfortable sleep, embracing your sides and giving you a good night's rest. The Luxe mattresses have more luxurious and pillowy feel to them. They have a 15-year limited warranty and more individually wrapped coils. On top of that, already hundreds available for even more better comfort, support, and sleep. All the mattresses are made in the US. They ship free and come with a 100-night free trial. That is over 3 months of a free trial. If you don't like it, send it back, but I highly doubt you won't. They also have ultra cool pillows, and they're very cool to the touch. They stay cold all night long. That's helpful for someone living in the heat like Arizona, Florida. My goodness, I probably should order some. But I have 2 regular pillows here. They have 2 removable inserts, so you can adjust the loft to your preference, and they're pretty much designed for any position of any type of sleeper, back, side sleeper, or stomach sleeper, whatever you name it. They got it, okay? You can try it out for 100 nights, risk-free. They have a 10-year warranty. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it. But you will, okay? Like I said. These mattresses are designed for different sleep positions and firmness. So if you're a side sleeper who likes plush, or if you're a stomach sleeper who prefers firmness, there's no more confusion with Helix, and you don't have to compromise anymore. You don't have to keep sweating, getting up in the middle of the night, just being a hot mess all around the place. No, you can enjoy your full night's sleep, finally. Okay, so you take that 2-minute quiz, match your body type, and if you're a couple, you enter your partner's info, and Helix's color match algorithm will find the best mattress for both of your needs. So it's very amazing stuff. Alright, poopsies. So as you can see, the mattress is all done, placed on the bed. And I have these 2 pillows as well by Helix, and they are super duper comfortable. There's a zipper compartment here to wash this, and I'm extremely satisfied. Now I'm going to give this some time to inflate after the airtight seal packaging, as you just saw. You gotta give it a few hours to really just de-wrinkle the mattress and really set its firmness in. So when you unbox it, you want to not do what I did, but you just want to immediately have it rolled onto the bed. It's just much easier that way, so you don't have to try to adjust it later on and you remove the plastic and all that stuff. So do whatever you feel is best. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's just an awesome mattress, and I'm going to try it out for a night now and tell you how it goes. Okay, poopsies, I've tried out my Helix Twilight Luxe finally a full night's sleep with little to no interruption. And I pretty much got comfortable right away, whereas my old mattress I had to keep like adjusting, moving around. It was a pain. So yeah, I love the firmness. I'm pretty lightweight in general. I weigh like 130 pounds at most. So I kind of knew already with the height and the firmness all around the mattress and all those little springs, it would be so comfortable, and it truly was. It felt like sleeping in a cloud. So make sure to get your own, link below. Oopsies. So here are some fun facts about sleep, and this will sort of go into the conversation about minor topics linked in with sleep as well. So just some interesting facts about sleep, basically, and how important it is to get a good night's sleep. Thus why I've included the mattress in the beginning of this video. So I highly recommend them yet again. So I have a list of facts here. I've researched from several different sources, anywhere you can pretty much find online. A lot of this stuff is not really that new. Some of you may know this stuff, some of you not. Some of these things I didn't know personally, or I've forgotten that I've learned about this, and it really is a gentle reminder of how vital those 8 hours on average, a third of our life basically, is important to our functioning. And a lot of times we want to do everything at once in one day. A lot of times we do have to compromise and make sacrifices for our lives, basically, our survival. And so we are willing to sometimes take that time away from getting a good night's rest, which is never the answer, by the way, because if you do, then you're missing out on other things, other opportunities you could have been aware of, and I'll go into that with the facts. But basically, when you don't get a good night's sleep, you might as well have drank like a lot, or not had your coffee for a few days. I don't know if you're used to it. It's pretty much as bad as pretty much driving while like you are intoxicated, or going to take your exam and you just didn't sleep for 2 days. That's pretty much the consequences you are making when you actively choose not to sleep. And some people can survive on literally just 4 hours a night, but if you don't have some magical alien DNA, then that's not happening for most of us, okay? So here are some facts. Just jump right into it, why not? Done enough talking already. In dolphins, only 1/2 of the brain sleeps at a time. Okay, so nothing to do with humans, but I just thought I'd add it in as a little flavoring to this video, with the other half staying awake. So one half is here. What's going on? I'm trying to sleep, but I gotta catch my eye on a predator or something. Do dolphins have predators? They probably have predators. Of course they have predators. Pretty much every creature has some enemy coming after them. Even the big blue whale, I'm sure. Humans. Or aliens. This is essential in order to reach the water surface to breathe. Oh, okay. Look at me assuming things right away. Like, yeah, they stay awake so they can keep an eye on things. Well, that probably is part of the reason. They are intelligent beings. Their brains are huge. My goodness. So, yeah, they need to stay half awake to breathe. It's like reminding yourself to breathe. Oh my God, if we had how responsible some of our generation is. If you had to remind yourself to breathe, oh, we would probably be dead. Like, we gotta remind ourselves to sleep sometimes because we get so caught up in all of this. You know what I mean? Up to 15% of people have restless leg syndrome. Oh yeah. So like when you're sleeping and your leg just like jittery. I used to kick a lot in my sleep. Like I've had a few sleepovers and stuff, and sometimes like family would tell me, like, I kick in my sleep. Okay. I don't think anymore. No. But I used to kick in my sleep, yeah. I was a dangerous sleeper. But, yeah, I'm glad that stopped. Like, that would be kind of irritable for me to, like, wake myself up with my leg moving. I guess it has something to do with the nerves, perhaps. I don't know. The brain is like, oh, you have to stay awake. It kind of reminds me of when you get jerked awake, like kind of like a hypnagogic sleep, or not so much sleep paralysis, but in a sense where you're like unable to sit still. The paralysis of being unable to be still, in a way. It's very interesting. We all function differently. Vehicular crashes are the third leading cause of death and injury in the United States, and up to 20% of them are sleep-related. Car crashes, 20% in the U.S., sleep-related. I remember a few times where I have had the temptation to drift off. Once on my way to the Key West, and once on my way to Texas, and once on my way to Chicago, and I think once on my way to Virginia, and it was like, it's very, very dangerous. You might as well just go to the nearest stop and get yourself a coffee, or just sleep and then continue. You know, you want to get up, go out, stretch. It doesn't matter if you're running late for work, better than to run late to the hospital because you're bleeding to death. Like, literally, it is so vital that you have respect for not only others on the road, but yourself as well. And if you ever are in a scenario where you have to stop, I'm telling you, stop. It's not worth it. I don't care where you have to go, how fast you have to be, what life-changing important meeting you are going to, unless you can remind yourself to breathe and, like, slap yourself every 5 seconds. It's just not going to happen. Like, or get, like, an ice cold bottle of water, put them on the wrists. That helps. Like, if you run your wrists under water and splash water in your face and eyes a bit, drink cold water, you know, blow the air conditioning, play music, open the window if it's cooler outside. And don't play, like, lulling, relaxing music. No, play, like, annoying, loud music. And turn that volume up. And, yeah, get some caffeinated beverage as well. But then that kind of goes against sleep, you know, and it's a cycle again, because then you have those things and substances, and then you take things to prevent sleep, and then you don't get sleep, and then it's a cycle the next day. Because see how dangerous it is. So here, how about this? Get a good night's sleep to begin with. If you really have to, you may perhaps take some melatonin. I guess they sell them in gummies now. I didn't even know. So that's an option. I've never tried that. But hey, you know, we all have days where we're like, oh my god, restless thoughts. And really, I've learned insomnia is just basically your mind thinking, and you are pretty much fearful of the world, and you're wondering how you're going to go about your day, and the next day. So that's pretty much insomnia. Related diseases caused by that, but the mentality of the cycle of let me think of this, and it's a lot of times unconscious. Like, we don't realize what's causing it. We just think, oh, it's just like a thing I have or a thing I'm going through, but it can be reversed. However, it is pretty much just the active mind not knowing how to. It's like restless-like syndrome in the brain. Like, you don't know how to shut that off. It almost feels convincing enough to be subconscious. Like, I could go all day about that, but basically that is causing people to get in car accidents on the road, and it's a bad cycle again, because now you just injured a third party, and some family is suffering because you hurt their family member because of that. Now they can't sleep, and now they're at risk of hurting others. It's like, we don't think about these things, and not to get like all serious and like downward spiral fast, but that is actually what happens. And so it continues to contribute to the 20% of those incidents, and thus those incidents, which are literally the third largest cause of death in the United States, which just blows my mind. Like, we do this every day. contributing to our suffering is just, I cannot even imagine. Okay? So, death and injury, third leading cause. That actually is very frightening. Very, very frightening. Untreated sleep apnea causes 500,000 motor vehicle crashes annually. So yeah, there's a way to find out if you have sleep apnea. Get yourself checked. And you will know. I mean, if you are with someone one night and they tell you like you did something like all of a sudden, stop breathing and stuff, and usually that kind of thing could wake you up, but it can be scary, then get yourself checked regardless, okay? Because a lot of times people don't know if they have it, and all of a sudden it just contributes to the cause because now you didn't get a night's sleep because of that, and you're worried about that, and all of this stuff. It's important to know you as a whole, and if something feels wrong, if you can't get a good night's sleep for some unknown cause, if you're just waking up in the middle of the night and you don't know what just happened and all of a sudden you can't breathe, yeah, so don't wait on stuff like that. 1 in 20 men have sleep apnea. Yeah, that's pretty common. 1 in 20, that's like 5%, yeah, wow. Seizures occur more commonly during sleep than during waking hours. Interesting. They usually portray seizures in like movies and shows as during a traumatic experience or like during the day, but I suppose if you have that at a nightmare or something and it triggers something, and I'm not saying a traumatic experience always causes that. No, that's just what they've portrayed to us for so long, and we kind of have to reverse our mentality of that, get it out of our head that this is more serious and in depth than that, and it can occur anytime, but obviously that would impact your sleep, right? So it's important, if someone around you ever goes through that, make sure they are rushed to the emergency room immediately, because you don't know what could be the cause. This one Disney star just recently passed. I don't know his name, but 20-year-old kid, and apparently he's had a seizure, and I guess they didn't get him checked. I don't know the whole story, but he passed in his sleep after, so perhaps he had a seizure occur in his sleep after that, and they didn't see it coming. They think, oh, they're waking up again, let's just wipe the foam off their mouth and they'll be fine. It's like hitting your cranium against something. If you fall, like people fall on ice and they hit the back of their head and they're like, oh, I'm fine, and then a few hours later they just clock out. So again, there's hospitals for a reason. Many tranquilizers, putting ice on it won't help. Many tranquilizers actually decrease deeper stages of sleep that are required for the restoration of fresh feeling in the morning. Yeah, so if you take like sleep medicine and stuff, it suppresses that supposedly REM sleep, I'm assuming. And I've noticed a lot of people actually telling me that they are usually restless. They wake up many times in the middle of the night, they move around and stuff. Sometimes I find myself doing that a lot more frequently nowadays, because I guess like when you think about it a lot, all of a sudden your mind is just like, oh, let's get out of this state and let's think about this now at 4 a.m. instead of getting your vital sleep. Or maybe a dream will be too overwhelming and then all of a sudden you're awake and you're like, nope, I can't handle that. It's not a good feeling. But you want to experience all levels. It's easy to suppress something with a substance, but if you do day in and day out, you're really suppressing your life if you think about it, and you're not allowing your mind to completely let go. If it always feels the need to be coated with something unnatural. That's why I recommended melatonin, because it's kind of pretty much natural. It's part of our body's cycle, but even that I question sometimes of what they put in those. But anyway, jet lag is worse when traveling toward the east. You're in the east and you're going towards Europe and Asia and all that stuff. I'm sorry, if you're in the United States and you're going toward the east towards Europe, and it's worse than if you're in like Europe and going to America. And I did notice that, like when I go to California, like I felt literally no jet lag whatsoever. And it's like 4.5 hours west, and the time difference is 2 hours, and no, 3 hours, I think, yeah. And I think when I went to Europe, and it was like 7-hour difference, and I've been going east for like 9 hours plus. Yeah, that was pretty bad jet lag. So that makes sense now, I guess, because you're going forward in time and you're passing time, so there's so much time. Like going to California would be like you leave at 10, you arrive at like what, noon? So it's only like 2 hours versus like if you go that way, now all of a sudden you're like 13 plus hours. Okay, anyway. Sleep loss of 4 hours is equivalent to being drunk with a blood alcohol level of 0.1%. Wowza. Okay, so yeah, like I mentioned earlier, get some sleep, okay? If you think 4 hours every day is gonna suffice you, then be drunk every day and see how you live your life. 1/3 of young adults are pathologically sleepy during the day. That makes sense, yeah. I mean, pretty much all of high school, I do remember being like pretty much sleepy, sleep deprived all the time. Even if I got a full night's rest, it still felt like it makes sense. Our mind does most of it though. Like we really do put the pressure on ourselves. And what helps me personally, if I feel tired, I just tell myself, I'm awake, I'm here, I'm present, I've had my coffee, let's go, let's do this, let's start our day. And that automatically, like, okay, the brain's like, okay. But you can only do that for so long realistically, because your body still needs that time to recover, heal, process the day. Imagine, okay, the brain works like this. So imagine you are at work and you are storing all these files, okay? And you are at work 20 hours a day storing files. And you're like, okay, only 4 hours to clock out and you have to be back here storing files for another 20 hours. The storing files is never going to end while you're alive, but you can actively choose to store files for 16 hours and put it aside for 8 hours and come back refreshed the next day. So you are expecting 20-hour days, so you're piling on 20-hour days. And if you don't catch up to those 20-hour days, you're going to fall behind. That's our mentality, but it's not true. The files are our imagination, that they come 20 hours a day and we have to keep up with them. But they don't. You can choose to leave it aside and then work on it the next day. Okay, so that's sort of analogy to sleep, that we put the pressure on ourselves, that we need to actively do things and catch up so we don't fall behind or so we get ahead in this society of a rat race, you know. It's all fake. Less sleep can lead to more lying, stealing, and cheating. Ooh, I never thought about this actually. But that makes sense. You have to get kind of creative and undercover, so to speak, when you are sleep deprived. It's almost like you're compensating for something you don't have, a lack thereof. Many times the problem is sleep, even if you go to a therapist's office and they ask you all sorts of questions, but it links all back to sleep. If you don't have a good mattress and pillow and get some sleep, that's why you are doing sometimes even sabotaging behaviors. It makes sense. And all of a sudden you lost your job because you're falling asleep at work and now you gotta go steal some money or something. I mean, it makes sense. I'm not saying that's always true, but it makes sense. Cheating, same. Compromise, lack thereof. When we don't have something, we want to get to pleasure as fast as we can. That's your subconscious mind. So at work, so you want to get to a satisfactory part. If you don't have it during your sleeping hours, you're going to have to want to achieve it by taking risky behavior. It's like being drunk. You do risky, stupid things when you're drunk. So that's same with sleep. Okay. Feeling tired has been shown to make us more inclined to unethical behaviors. Lack of judgment because of lack of sleep. Without sleep, you might forget as much as 40% of what you're trying to learn. Okay, so your slow learner ability, capability, whatever you want to call it, is basically perhaps, not always, but perhaps linked to a lack of sleep because you're not letting those files store. Okay? You have to let your sleep do the work. You don't have to store for 20 hours. Let the brain do the storing well. The brain is so focused on keeping you alive and functioning. You need to give it time to take care of itself. Okay? The brain never sleeps, but it needs to take care of itself while you sleep. That's why you need it. We say we don't know why we sleep, but that's why. So you can give your brain time to do its thing. Studies have shown there is little point cramming all night before an exam. That is very true, because then you don't get enough sleep to process. Imagine watching the world's longest movie. Imagine it's 400 hours long. Are you going to remember every plot, every event in that movie if you watch it for 400 hours straight? No, you got to pause, live your life, sleep, remember what happened. It's like watching your favorite series. You're not going to binge it for 40 hours straight, okay? You're just not going to remember what happened. Then all of a sudden you go back to it and you're like, wait, I got to replay this part. Who's this character again? Same with your day-to-day life. You're going to be like, oh, I met you 5 weeks ago. I totally forgot about you. Oh, it's like, you forgot my birthday, my name. All because you didn't sleep. Oh my God, I'm offended. And that's unfortunately why a lot of people do ruin relationships and stuff because of that, really. And they can't get along with their partners, or their partners are pushing them and nudging them in the middle of the night. I wouldn't be surprised if that is a cause of divorce, is sleep. Really, that's quite unfortunate. During a full moon, it is thought you sleep 20 minutes less than you would normally. That makes sense. Whenever there's a full moon, I can't even sleep right away. There's too much energy, I feel going on. And sometimes you can see it through the blinds because it's so bright and it kind of interferes with you. And you're like, oh, that's so pretty. And you just want to look at it. It's like having a bright little light bulb in the corner there. And you lose up to 30% of your usual deep sleep. Wow. Well, the gravity and the cycles and all, I wouldn't be surprised that it can keep people up at night because there's not complete darkness unless you have these room darkening curtains and completely isolate yourself in a soundproof room or something. I don't know if that would even help, but energy is everywhere, so while you're on this planet, you're going to feel the full moon, whether it makes you feel good or not. And probably that's why people associate the moon with something negative, because they're not sleeping, perhaps, and that's affecting their judgment of the moon. I don't know. I like the full moon. Personally, it makes me feel good, but what do I know? A 2014 study found that drivers are 17% more likely to get in an accident after daylight savings than they are usually. I suppose that makes sense, because then you cut your sleep, and the part of daylight savings time that cuts your sleep, not the one that gives you an extra hour of sleep, obviously. But sometimes it could be that other way around too, because then you're like, now I got an extra hour, I can stay up and watch Netflix, and before you know it, it's 4 hours later, and you're like, oh my God, I just cut my sleep again. So daylight savings time messes us all up. Why can't we just have a normal, why do we need daylight? I never understood that. Let the seasons do the work. Why do we have to push in? See, humanity has been pushing themselves and involving themselves way too much in how the universe works. Why can't we just function with the cycles? You know how much we sabotage. Oh, now I'm mad. Now I'm really mad. Okay, anyway. Daylight savings time pisses me off now. But you should avoid driving at any time of the year if you're feeling tired. Yes, thank you. Hallelujah. Someone had to say it. Gee. Some people can only dream in black and white. I dream in full-blown color, sound, taste, touch, sense, feel, everything. Researchers believe it may stem from the days of old television sets. Well, I know now why, because I never had a past life here on Earth before. Even one night of lost sleep can make your skin... Well, I did wonder that, though. Like someone... nowadays in this new generation probably would not be able to dream in black and white, but someone like who's like 80 years old probably can. Well, I don't know, anyway, because our minds are really a reality of what we see and how we interact with the world and feel. So if you've grown up with black and white and all of a sudden you don't watch television, and then you're like, why do I dream in black and white? You know, because you're not used to seeing the colors of, but then like you live your life in color, and even back in the black and white television days, you weren't living in black and white. I mean, people weren't black and white, and like your furniture wasn't black. I don't understand that, actually. Like, do we interpret in our dreams a lot of what we see on like movies and stuff? That part never made sense to me, but anyway. Even one night of lost sleep can make your skin dry. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like drinking makes your skin like cracked and all wrinkly, which is thought to make lines and wrinkles more apparent. Yeah, of course. And pimples sometimes can cause from dry, cracked skin. Yeah, you do replace and replenish your layer of skin during your sleep as well. That's why when you wake up in the morning, you wash your face, your skin feels so soft. And that's why people like washing their face and moisturizing at night too, in their nightly regimen, because it really feels like glowy and soft the next day. Yeah. Sleep deprivation has been shown to increase an individual's feelings of hunger. Yes. I remember staying up till like 6 in the morning every night and like waking up at 4 in the afternoon, and like I ate so much like during the night because I was like, oh my god, like all you can think about is food. You know, the survival, like you have to compensate. Now your brain is like, okay, Tony, you're not giving me the sleep you need, so now let's go eat Oreos because that's going to compensate for what you're lacking right now. And that's how humans function. In reality, every single person does this. Every single human being, nobody's perfect, literally will grab at something, some addictive behavior, in replacement for something they're missing. So if you're missing a love life, you're gonna probably binge on Oreos for a while until you can find that, or you're probably going to sleep too much or too little. And if it's too much sleep, then you're missing out on your day. So too much sleep is also just as bad as not enough, if you think about it. You need a balance of everything, a balance of eating Oreos and a balance of, you know, all healthy and sometimes unhealthy behavior. It's good to take risks sometimes or step out of your comfort zone and be a little different, but as long as you don't let it take over your life and control your daily actions and function with society, I suppose. Leading to weight gain in some cases. So yeah, sleep is also a deadly cause of many things on top of that. Weight gain, which can contribute to deadly behaviors in the long run, okay? No big deal if you gain 5-10 pounds, but if it starts adding up to this, contributing to years and years and years of behavior of not getting enough rest, and then now that you're gaining on that extra weight, you're not sleeping even more now because you're stressed about that, and it's just like a vicious cycle that almost feels like it's irreversible. Everything can be reversed. Everything. Short-term sleep deprivation has been linked to high blood pressure and raised cholesterol. Again, your body is compensating for what it's missing, so now it has to be on the alert for when you are awake because you missed all that sleep. Now your body is producing these natural levels of, like, basically caffeine in your body. Cortisol, right? Adrenaline. And so, because you have to survive, your brain is doing that, and now you can't sleep at night because there's too much of that adrenaline in you, and you now cannot shut that down. That also can cause insomnia. And the cholesterol due to the diet of not sleeping, basically, it all contributes to one another in a double-edged sword effect. Sleep is thought to help cleanse the body of toxins. I know this from craniopsychotherapy, learning and massage therapy, that our brain and spine are obviously linked together with a cerebrospinal fluid, and that washes our brain and spine, and thus linked to our nerves and how we function the next day. That it's like doing the rinse cycle in the laundry machine overnight. Like, if you don't wash your clothes, the next day you're gonna have stinky clothes. So you have to do that during your sleep, and it's unconscious, you know, but you feel it. If you cradle the back of their head, and their sacrum and their spine, and you sit still for a while with them, you can actually feel the fluid every couple seconds move back up and down and up and down. And we're like fish, and if you hold this skull here, I wanted to do a video on this eventually, you can actually feel the skull moving like a fish flap breathing, and it actually does as the fluid fills and goes, fills and goes, and links with your circulatory system, flowing through your blood and all that, and the lymphatic system, and they're all connected and they're working together. And it's like they say we come from not only apes but fish as well, so that's why our brain does that. So your cranium moves, and you have the frontal lobe, the parietals, and the occiput here in the back, so they're all moving. It's not just one still piece. So that's something I was surprised to learn that we do when we are still. We can really feel it. So that process gets rid of toxins in the body. And if you don't do that, cholesterol, chemicals, unhealthy, contributing to your healthy, trying to get healthy, basically. Your body warning you like something's wrong, we're missing something here, okay? And of course that makes sense with high blood pressure, because now your blood is trying to find those, your blood basically what it does is it gets rid of toxins and many other little jobs here and there. And so when it cannot find those toxins, it's like it has a job to do, and it's told to be sent, that red blood cell, even the white blood cell, it's told to go somewhere to find something, and if it can't find that, it's gonna either die or perhaps attack something, lymphoma, or try to compromise for what it's missing. It has to come back and get rid of something or take care of something, and when it can't, it's producing all these things and causing blood clots and all that stuff, and it's all linked together. So the high blood pressure is now, okay, now we gotta get more blood and try to find this thing as fast as we can, because now this person is not giving us this chemical because they're not sleeping, It's not like they're aware that you're not sleeping, it's just they have no choice. You are a advanced machine that has all different parts, and they all know what they're supposed to do. And now that these cells are dying, so are you, and it's contributing to other effects. Your skin cells are not healthy anymore. Your organ tissue is no longer getting the supply it needs because it's too busy trying to find something else, that now you're deprived in other parts, or you're trying to get the energy and you're getting too much blood in one place and not enough in another. So there's many, many, many traces and effects. I'm in no way a doctor in this, but this is just from what I have encountered with learning about this stuff. Finding your ideal temperature can improve your sleep. For most people, it's between 18 and 22 degrees Celsius. I like 78, 79 Fahrenheit. But yeah, the colder, the better sleep, I heard, because your body, like my body tends to overheat at night, and then it starts to cool down during like 5, 6 in the morning, and then I like it warmer. So we're all different, but cooler than during the day is better for sleep. Don't you hate when it's hot and you can't sleep? Oh my gosh. Undoing the covers, undressing completely, it's torture. But because of our cycles, like during the day we expect it to be hotter because of the sun, and during night we expect it to be colder, so I suppose that's why. And you're resting, your heart rate drops to about 60 beats per minute. So we just expect cooling down. You have to cover yourself with a blanket. We're so ingrained since a baby to be covered and cloaked, and it's just natural to expect colder temperature during sleep, and if you don't receive that, then you can't sleep. It's that simple. Sleep deprivation. Number one, lack of sleep has been implicated as one of the most significant roles in tragic accidents that involve airplanes, ships, trains, cars, and nuclear power plants. That's insane. I mean, obviously human beings are running all of these things, so reminds me of the stories on the news, like pilot goes 100 miles beyond because they fell asleep because the plane was on autopilot. Like, oh my god, what if it was like 6 hours and they run out of gas? And you're literally putting people's lives at risk. I mean, it's really not funny, but it's funny how we like do these things to ourselves, and then all of a sudden they lose their job because they did that, and it's all over the news, and now they can't sleep, and it contributes to just a horrible, horrible life. Get some sleep, okay? Sleep deprivation can also be a symptom of an undiagnosed sleep disorder or other medical condition. Like I've said, really any and all disorders, conditions are all contributed and linked to past traumatic events, hurts, fears, and now you're feeling anger and guilt, and you are going about that cycle, and it can be reversed. You don't need a diagnosis for that. You just need some form of therapy to where you may figure out what is the root cause. However, if you do want to believe that there is an irreversible, set-in-stone disorder or condition that is needing to be diagnosed in you, then do what you feel is best. However, end all says all. Evidence is there. I don't need to say anymore that none of this is ever set in stone. It's all linked to our childhood and our experiences and how we choose to experience those experiences. Everything is reversible, just not our sleep deprivation. The record for the longest period of time someone went without sleep is 18 days, 21 hours, and 40 minutes. That's pretty much how long this video is. During this time, the record holder experienced hallucinations, paranoia, blurred vision, slurred speech, and lapses in memory and concentration. So I can tell you a story about me. What I've experienced. I went 72 hours straight once without sleep. That's 3 days and 3 nights. Okay. And hallucinations began occurring on day 2.5. I saw spiders all over my bed that were not there. And I know they weren't there because I went to touch them, and it was nothingness. I mean, when I put 2 and 2 together, I began to realize this was just a part of not getting enough sleep, because now your brain is compensating for images. You're trying to dream. You're supposed to dream, and you can't sleep. And when I finally went to bed that 3rd night and tried to sleep, I couldn't. It was beyond what I could do, because now my mind is expecting this to continue occurring, so it thinks I don't need it anymore. I was getting a little bit paranoid because I thought, oh my gosh, what if I keep going and I can't stop? Blurred vision, that occurred. My eyes started moving like left and right. Slurred speech, yes, I could not talk properly. I was like if I was rereading the paragraph I just read, I would talk like this. The period time the West sleep went 8, 20, 40 minutes. Record experience during the paranoid blurred, it was similar to that. Lapses in memory and concentration, I have no memory at all of those 3 days, at all. I have no idea what occurred after I slept. Anytime less than 5 minutes to fall asleep at night means that you are sleep deprived. Anytime less than 5 minutes to fall asleep at night means that you're sleep deprived. The ideal amount of time it should take to fall asleep is 10 to 15 minutes. Oh yeah, if you fall asleep pretty quick, you are pretty much sleeping. I didn't know. I thought it was the opposite. I had an ex who told me he fell asleep in like a minute, like 30 seconds. Like as soon as he put his head on the pillow, he fell asleep. And he does say a lot that he is sleep deprived. So that makes sense now. Because you're like, oh my god, finally. Oh. Yeah, it usually takes me hours, but that's because I'm on my phone like an idiot. I should Netflix and chill with my pillow, not with my phone. 17 hours of sustained wakefulness will lead to a decrease in performance that is equivalent to having a blood alcohol level of 0.05%. So that's about half of what we mentioned with the first fact, which was sleep loss of 4 hours is 0.1. This one says 17 hours of wakefulness will lead to decrease. Okay, so that's 18. Okay, so if you only get 7 hours of sleep, that's 0.05. And average you should take 8. Depends on your age. So even missing 1 hour is 0.05. Wow, that is insane on average. That can be mixed depending on how used to living your life you are, I suppose. But people mistaken and think, oh, I'm expected to get this much, like the 4 or 6 hour thing, and then all of a sudden they don't realize once they get 8-10 hours, their life literally changes for them. So it's one of those things where people can agree to disagree. In order to fall asleep, we must be cool enough, as the sleep-wake cycle in the brain is very closely linked to temperature. This is why summer nights can cause restless sleep. The comfort zone shrinks as we get older, hence the elderly have more sleep disorders. The comfort zone shrinks as we get older. What does that even mean? Well, the elderly never, they're lucky to get 3 hours. But I guess they're fearful that they won't wake up. I don't know what that means. Some studies claim that women need an hour more sleep than men each night, and not getting it could be why they're more susceptible to depression than men are. Women go through their cycles and hormones. It is important you guys get your sleep too. That extra hour will make a difference. They go through so much of their minds run at like 10 miles an hour. 100 miles an hour, and men's run at 10 sometimes. We don't have to worry as much. I suppose in society we're ingrained to believe that we don't, but we have just as much, if not more, too. We're responsible for way more. On average, I'm saying, with how society has been functioning the past century, it's just been proven. But nowadays, women and men equally are empowered enough to be equals, thankfully, but it's still in our mind, like, oh, women have less to do, men do, but really, women actually have more to do than men. Again, one of those subjects where you can agree, disagree. I don't agree with or disagree with any of that. I'm just stating what is. It is estimated that fatigue is the cause of 1 in 6 fatal road accidents. Yeah, fatigue leads to lack of sleep. I've had that for sure in university many days and nights. Oh my goodness. Like having to do a project, then going to film a video, then going to study, then like you're doing little things. I have to meet up with my friend, then oh my god, I have to call my friend over there. And like before you know it, you're like, where is my 6 hours of sleep I'm looking for at least? And the fatigued feeling is the worst. It literally feels like you're nauseous in your belly. Like, it's such a horrible, like you get shaky, it's like low blood pressure, and it's like you're trying to survive on a low tank of gas. You become less expressive and react less to humorous stimuli, essentially losing your sense of humor until you are able to catch up with your sleep debt. And there actually is no such thing as a sleep debt. That was recently proved wrong, because you cannot catch up on that missed sleep. Once you miss that sleep, it is forever. You can catch up on your normal cycle, but the damage of what that one night did, or in my case the 3, ever since then it kind of felt like life just wasn't the same. I don't know why I ever did that to begin with. I was like 15. I don't know. I just, like, at the time I didn't want to be here anymore. I was like doing anything I could just to get out, basically. And so I was like a crazy, troubled, angsty teenager, and it was not healthy, obviously, and I probably did permanent damage in many ways, and I do not recommend you trying to beat the world record either. That is 1 in a fat chance, and you would have to constantly be stimulated to stay awake that long. It is probably the worst feeling you can ever imagine, and to suffer through it for almost 3 weeks is insane. But yeah, there have been cases people tried and went to like 11 days and they died. Like, don't even bother, okay? So yeah, that makes sense. Depression and all that. All of a sudden, funny things like that no longer interest you, and you're like, I just need sleep. I don't care about this stupid joke anymore. A lack of sleep can increase feelings of depression and anxiety. Yep. Yet again, you're fearful, you're angry, you can't get enough sleep, you're scared what it's going to do to you, and you're also scared and angry and afraid of your current living existence, and it's contributing constantly to your sleep deprivation and your sleep debt, which really is just not being able to get out of your cycle. And then you worry like, oh, what is this doing to me in the long run? And then it continues Alright, so the last of the facts. You can hear my stomach growling, or me just needing sleep, and, no, I'm joking. Am I? No, I'm joking. Denial is also a cause of sleep deprivation. Okay, I'll stop. The record for the longest period without sleep is 18 days, 21 hours, 40 minutes. Considering that you can die from sleep deprivation after 10 days, I was right, 11 days, you can only imagine what this person was going through. They may have been suffering from symptoms such as decreased impairment. You mean increased impairment. Like, impaired is to be unable to do, right? So, or maybe they were doing the most, I don't know, whatever. Loss of memory, huge increased chance for accidents. If you're not sleeping for this long, you most definitely have a poor quality of life. Yikes. There are 2 periods for maximum sleepiness. These include the late afternoon, 3 to 5 p.m., and the end of the night, 3 to 5 a.m. There are also 2 periods of maximum alertness, 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. Well, that makes sense now as to why I wake up during certain amounts of time and feel like I need to take a nap during those times as well. You'll die from sleep deprivation before starvation. That's true. You can last 30 days without eating, but 10 days without sleeping. A person will die without food after 2 weeks. Oh, wow. But it only takes 10 days to die without sleep. So if you have a choice between sleeping or getting something to eat, get some sleep. But the thing is, when you can't sleep, you want to eat, so you're going to eat anyway. Dreaming used to happen predominantly in black and white. Before the invention of the TV, most people dreamed in black and white. That's definitely not the case nowadays, though. The majority of people dream in color. 2 recent studies show that younger people rarely dream in black and white, while older people report it more often, although it's still a low percentage. Sleep will always be somewhat of a mystery to many of us, although we're learning more and more through research. It's hard to study something that only happens when people are unconscious, beloved, or hated. You'll be doing it for the rest of your life, so